Hi, I'm Randy Patterson, author of How to Be Miserable, 40 Strategies You Already Use. And this is another in a series called Isolated Moments of Sanity. We're looking at ways to get through social distancing or quarantine using ideas taken from cognitive behavior therapy. Today's strategy: limit the news. This is a big event. It's natural to want to be informed by it. 20 years from now, people are going to be talking about this all the time, and they're going to be asking, well, where were you and what did you do? It's natural for you to want to be informed about everything as you go through it. So should you tune into the news every so often? Sure. It might even tell you something useful, like how much longer do we have to live like this? Or what's happening in your area? Are things getting worse or better? That's all stuff that you want to know. And ultimately, one of the biggest bonuses of the news is in helping guide your own behavior. Should you be wearing a mask or not? Which stores are open? Am I supposed to be outside or inside? Is it okay for me to exercise? So the news can help with all of that, but you don't need to have it on constantly to get this. I've talked about how the human brain is a problem-solving device, and part of that is an evolved tendency to focus our attention on problems. Because if you're not paying attention to a problem, you can't really solve it. But the news is available 24 hours a day, and most days it doesn't change that much. The recommendations are the same, the estimates are the same, the guidelines aren't completely revamped every hour on the hour. The stuff that does change doesn't really make a big difference to what you do. Every hour, for example, the number of cases somewhere on Earth gets updated. Terrific, but what does that tell you that a once-a-day update would not? The news outlets are great at telling you, we're bringing you up-to-the-minute reports, breaking news. Terrific. So what? Something just happened in Italy. Great. So why do you have to know about it within 3 minutes of it happening? How does it change what you are going to do today? Maybe you just want to know, but they won't have forgotten all about it by tomorrow. If it was important, it'll still be there. The vast majority of breaking news is completely irrelevant to you. Now, some people feel this sense of guilt. They should be informed, so they should be paying close attention. Well, you probably should be informed about this to at least some degree, but not every 2 minutes. What's the big deal here? Your emotions respond to your environment. If your environment is, I'm reading this mystery novel, or I'm cleaning out this closet, or I'm lying in this bathtub, then that's what you will be reacting to. If your environment is entirely somebody breathlessly describing catastrophe to you, including catastrophe that's happening on the other side of the planet, then that's all you will be reacting to. You'll be more and more stressed out and more anxious. Well, yeah, but isn't it real? Aren't those things actually happening? Yes, and if they're important, you will find out about them. But you don't have to find out about them 10 times. Maybe you remember 9/11. Much of it was caught on video, and we saw that video played on the television and the internet. And 9/11 did actually happen. So maybe it was appropriate that you saw that if you were around then. It informed you about something that had really happened. But how did watching it the 20th time tell you something new? At some point, it stopped being news, and it started being entertainment porn. That's happening now too. It's not informing you. For many people, it's just compulsive viewing. And if you're having a hard time recently, partly it may be because that's all you're paying attention to. But cleaning out the closet or making that recipe, that's real too. And you can pay attention to it. And you'll react emotionally to that instead of only to things a world away that you can't do anything about. So what do I recommend? I suggest you watch or read the news now and then. Stay informed to the extent that it's useful, but you don't need to have the news on constantly to get this. Do not have the news channel on in the background all day long. Turn it off. And don't check the news on the internet 5 or 10 times a day. That's not helping you. It is almost certainly feeding your own anxiety with no benefit. So I recommend choosing a time to check in with the news, maybe twice a day, once if you can manage it. Check the news, then turn it off. You will feel the temptation to go back to it. It's a lot like an addiction. Your ability to resist is a lot like a muscle. It only gets stronger with exercise. If you cannot limit yourself as much as you'd like, check the news and look at the time when you're done. See if you can go 60 minutes before you look again, then 75 minutes, and so on. Maybe put a sticky note on your computer or on your remote, and every time you check the news, make a mark on it. You might discover that you're looking 10 times a day. Fine. Ration yourself. You're now allowed 9 times a day. If you run out, you run out. Then try 8 times a day. This is just like you would do with weightlifting. If you want to bench press 200 pounds, but you can only do 20, then do 20. Work your way up to 25, then 30. Going cold turkey on the news may not work for you. Fine, but don't give up. Partly, it's this situation that's stressful. But partly, it's having it played out in front of your eyes over and over and over again. Be informed, but not redundantly so. Limit the news. Oh yeah, and my publisher has a message for you. Stay home, wash your hands, and buy my book. Talk to you again.